Appreciate you, Pat.
Talk with Tyler Campbell on 102.7 ESPN. You can call or text Tyler at 512-834-1027. Now, here is Amazon best-selling author and inspirational speaker, Tyler Campbell.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to another amazing day. Listen, happy Saturday to each and every one of you guys. Love y'all and respect y'all. Yo, this is Real Life and Real Talk. Tyler Campbell in the studio, body rocking and shocking with my man, Big Pat. He's working the ones and twos, twisting the dials. Yo, and we are going to get better today. This is an exciting day. Got a lot to talk about. Got a lot going on. Listen, so turn up that radio dial, right? Tell a friend to tune in. And listen, I got something sacred, got something special to talk to everybody else about. So in all honesty, let's do it how we do it, right? And then let's kick it how only we can kick it. Listen, no matter the weather, this is where birds of a feather come to flock together. And at 10 a.m., listen to me, at 10 a.m., it's my time to bring you, the listener, right? The sunshine. Tyler Campbell, a.k.a. Mr. TC Speaks, Mr. Real Life, Real Talk himself. And I am live and wild on your radio dial with a smile on my face. Yes, and energy to waste. And if you're looking for inspiration, unity, and community, then watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, watch this. It is guaranteed that you are in the right place. And so you already know. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. What? So that we can grow. And Pat, I hit the ding. Listen, school is in session. I love it. So listen, we had a dynamic last couple of weeks, and it is a joy to be back on the radio waves. And I kind of want to start this thing off right, kind of hot and heavy, given the fact that it gives you something to really think about, right? And over the last 2 weeks, like, we had the pleasure of having our family reunion. Okay, we had a family reunion, and it came at a very, very timely form. If you don't know, like, July is National Black Families Month, always has been. So you see a lot of family reunions taking place during those times. Or during this time. If you know anything about me and my son Messiah's relationship, when he and I talk, he's very much a historian. All right, so Messiah talks a lot about history, different parallel events. He's obviously very intrigued about his culture, his history, but more importantly, his family, the dynamics of it, why people came to be, why we're here, where we are. So Messiah talks about this, and I want to kind of get this out in the open, because I need to tell people, get to know your elders while your elders are still here. So my son asked me a lot of questions about history and his culture and where he comes from. He asked history about our family, how we got here, why people are the way that they are, what was my great grandmother like, where do we come from? And I had to tell my son, I said, son, you got to utilize the opportunity for us traveling to East Texas to be with this family reunion. So you need to start asking your elders about their perspective, because they can tell the stories a lot better than your father can. And I want that to sit in somebody else's system while you're here and right now, because there are people who are in your life, right? There are people in your life who are getting older. And my question to you is, how much time have you spent with them? How much do you know about them? How much time have you spent asking them to share stories about their culture, right? Because my son came to me honestly like this. And this is full 100. This is me getting y'all inside real life and real talk of our family. So my son is very much a historian. So Messiah comes up and he talks to me and he says, the culture, like our Black culture, Daddy. He said, our Black culture is, the history of it, Dad, is kind of sad. And sometimes the history of it kind of scares me. And I told my son, I said, you have to learn to appreciate the struggle, because while there are some sad stories about your culture, while there are some sad stories about your people, you also have to understand that the struggle that your ancestral heritage has gone through is also beautified, because yet and still you have overcome. And I want that to not be anything racial. I want you to let that sit over anything that you do in life, because I'm going to bring this to your doorstep, wrap it in a bow so you can take it into your own crib, into your own heart, and let it manifest. So no matter how dark your life has been in the past, no matter what culture you come from, no matter how your family dynamics and shape-ups have been in the past, out of those things have come some beautiful opportunities. Out of those things have birthed a great next generation of families. Out of the dark times in life, there have been positive things that have shaped themselves, and those positive aspects are what you have to sit back and smile about. I told my son, yeah, there are some tough times about our culture, but out of the midst of the struggle, you got to see how far your culture, your people have come. And it's not just a black thing. I say that to to everybody, no matter what culture and dynamic and makeup you come from. Yo, there are some struggle moments in that. But think about all the beautiful and amazing things, yet and still your culture has overcome to get to where it is in this lifetime. And so that's how I told my son that that's how you have to look at people. That's how you have to look at the world. No matter how dark it has been, no matter what people have been cast to the side, no matter who's been set before you in life, and you've heard people say you can't do this and you can't do that, yet and still, yo, people come out on top. I said, those are the things that you have to hold near and dear to your heart. And those are the things that you have to allow to manifest within your soul to keep you going, to keep you feeling like you can constantly overcome. And so when I was talking to him in particular, he always asked me about historic events. And I told him, I said, son, yo, daddy can't answer all these questions. Yo, I talk for a living, right? I love to get over the microphone, and I do have a lot to say, but I don't know everything. And sometimes the stories that you want to know, sometimes the truths that you want to understand, I want us to hit the pause button. I want us to sit back. And while you have elders within your family, while you have a grandmother, while you have a grandfather, while you got your great-grands, while you got your aunts, your uncles, while you have a mother, father, stepfather, while you have your caretakers in your life, I want us to sit back and start asking questions about what life was like historically through their lens and their eyes. You got to start telling the stories. That's what I took away from our family reunion. And that's what I told my son. I said, son, you need to go back and you need to start asking these people to tell you their story, how life was like through their eyes. Because when you instantly learn about the struggles of somebody else, come on, somebody, when you learn about the struggle and strife of somebody else in their life, you become appreciative. You sit back and start saying to yourself, well, listen, they went through all of those things and they're still here. Or better yet, they went through all those things. I've never had to endure anything like what they've had to go through in their life. What more can I do with my own? What more can I do with this great blessing that I have with life? So I'm encouraging us at Real Life, Real Talk Nation at the start of the show. Who are the elders that are in your life today? And how often have you taken the time in your life to sit back and really give them your time, your energy to ask them some questions? You know, there's some perspectives there. I'll never forget sitting back and asking elders, like, yo, what was it like to see or hear of Jackie Robinson? Right? I would sit back and ask. I've asked my dad, like, honestly, Pop, yo, what was it like to sit back over black and white television? Right? And see Jim Brown like do his thing in the National Football League. What was that like? Like Muhammad Ali, like taking the world by storm, like telling people with Howard Cosell sitting down, and Muhammad Ali is literally doing something that had never been done in the age of trash talk, like telling people on national television that he was going to knock out Joe and then go out and do it. Right? Like, what was it like seeing those things? Because that is how history can continue to live on. That is how the stories continue to go out and get played. So in the midst of when you are around family, man, beloved, yo, go back and start asking those types of questions. And I just recognize, yo, if you're live, man, listen, at TC Speaks 32 is where I went live. Y'all got to bear with me. I have multiple Instagram accounts. So I was supposed to be on at Real Life, Real Talk on my IG. If it's not there, understand it's at my personal right now, at TC Speaks 32. Also, I am live on YouTube. Look me up there as well. For all the different followers, all the different people, I want to give a shout out as well to one of our loyal listeners, who's actually up in the Boogie Down Bronx. And I mispronounce his name. I think it's Barcolo. And he said, man, just texted me just a second ago, and he said, shout out from the Boogie Down Bronx. Appreciate it. Keep it going, Hermano. And he's actually a multiple sclerosis warrior, just like myself. And I thank him for that. I thank him for tuning in. Shout out to a woman by the name of Brenda Sprayberry, Brenda Raspberry, her and her family. I was with my son at Comic-Con in Cedar Park last week. And like I said, I'm always speaking on radio 102.7 in the confines of a room. So I never know who's listening, right? I'm always up here in radio, me and Pat rocking and shocking. We doing our thing. And Brenda came up to me and she was just like, Tyler, thank you so very much for your words. Yo, please keep up the inspiration. You've met my husband before at McDonald's. You probably don't remember. And just thank you for the words of inspiration that you provide. And again, this is not me talking out of arrogance. It's literally that moment in your life where you have to be thankful, where you have to be appreciative of people who give their time and give you their listening ear over the airwaves, because y'all don't have to be here, right? Y'all don't have to play back these messages on SoundCloud. Y'all don't have to do the follows on social media. You're doing this because you really feel like the words are making a difference, or the movement or the messaging is really resonating. So I thank you, Brenda, for you and your family. I thank you for taking the time out while I was with my children. Her words nearly brought me to tears, because again, it moves me just to know that, somebody else outside of these walls is listening in to what we have to say. A special shout out to our sponsor, Earl Campbell's Smoked Sausage, a true Texas legend, one of the top sausage companies in the United States of America. Takes time to provide support and sponsorship for what we do here every Saturday at Real Life and Real Talk. So no matter where you are, whatever family get-togethers that you are having, we just talked about family reunions. Don't show up to the family reunion without some great tasting Earl Campbell smoked sausage. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk about our word of the week, which is competition. Competition is our word for the week. And then also we're going to ask ourselves this question: when it comes to the next generation, are we allowing them to take a step up, or are our actions putting them at a disadvantage and causing them to take a step back? So we're going to talk about those things. We'll get into our word of the week, why competition is so important, and how it captivated me to do something that I have not done in 5 years. Tyler Campbell, aka Mr. TC Speaks. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen, so we can grow. Catch y'all on the other side of this break. Take us out, Pat. Two minutes. I appreciate it. So we got 2 minutes to come back on the other side of this break. But I want to talk more in depth with my son. My son Messiah, he always asks me more in-depth questions, especially about his culture, especially about anything historically that has happened, in particular the civil rights movement, right? So this is Real Life, Real Talk. I'm keeping it all the way 100 about, my son and our interactions. I want to take you into the room. And sometimes with my son, I have to be honest, first and foremost, being a parent is one of the hardest jobs that you could ever ask for. Right? There's a lot of accountability. There's a lot of responsibility. And sometimes it's the one job that you have where every night you ask yourself the question, am I doing a good job at this? Okay. And so with Messiah, he's in a moment right now where kind of the civil rights movement and Bloody Sunday, the Selma, Alabama event. If you don't know it, just go back and Google it, watch the movie Selma. And a lot of times right now, my son is asking me questions. I'm like, I had to be honest with him. I was like, son, I'm born in 1986. Okay. The event you talking about, that's 20 years plus from before I was born. And I had to be honest with him. I had to say, son, don't ask daddy as much about these events, because I think the stories through my eyes are going to sell you short. I said, you got to start asking your elders these questions while they are here on this earth, so that perspective and that storyline will sit with you. So I told my son, I said, while we're at the family reunion, I want you to start going by and asking people about these events, right? Because they were children, or because they were teenagers when these types of events are taken on. So ask yourself the question, how much time are you spending with elders to help them reshape history instead of through the textbooks, but through what they saw in their own eyes? Utilize the time while they're here.
You are listening to Real Life, Real Talk with Tyler Campbell on 102.7 ESPN. Reach out to Tyler at 512-834-1027.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Tyler Campbell, aka Mr. TC Speaks. You know the text in line 102.7 ESPN, sitting down, body rocking and shocking with my man Big Pat. Listen, shout out to my father-in-law who is here from Sacramento, California, Mr. Tony Watson. I don't get to see my father-in-law all the time because he's in California, but it is a joy having him. Took him to a place called Styles and Switch Barbecue, which is his favorite place in Austin, Texas, to get ribs. If you are a native Austin Texan, if you're a native Austinite, send us a text message. Let us know what your favorite, Austin barbecue restaurant is. There's so many things. Like I go to different places for different things. Interstellar Barbecue, Styles and Switch, Salt Lake. Go to all these different places, blacks. There's just so much barbecue down here in the state of Texas. I'm curious to find out, what are y'all's favorite barbecue restaurants? So those things being said, if you're just now getting in and tuning in, we talked about how in the first segment it is imperative that we start to sit down with our elders, right, and start asking for their perspectives so that the stories, the things, the way that they sing life, it continues to live on, right? Because those things are extremely important. And I talked about how my son asked me a lot of questions about civil rights and about things prior and only things that older generations might have seen through their own eyes. And I told him, I said, son, while your elders are here, ask questions. So what are the things that you want to know about your family, right? What are some question marks that you have about historic events within the country, within the world? And instead of pondering them, instead of going to Google, instead of typing some things in on the computer, instead of watching YouTube, I want you to utilize the sources that are here. And while they are here, spend time with them. Spend time with the previous generations, right? Get to know something unique about your family that you did not know. Get to know something unique about the culture that you come from that you did not know while those voices are here. Yeah, Tyler Campbell, aka Mr. TC Speaks. This is Real Life, Real Talk on 102.7 ESPN. Coming to y'all hot and heavy. I want to give you the word of the week for this week. The word of the week for this week is the word competition. Y'all know I always come with a word, give you something that you can at least take. If you don't have as much wisdom, if you don't have as much insight to tune into the whole show, I can at least give you a word for the week. And so the word for the week this week is the word competition. It's the word competition. And by my definition, according to the TCSV, the Tyler Campbell Standard Version of the dictionary, which is where I get this, I make up my own definitions because as a kid, a lot of times with spelling of words, I would make up my own definitions that would cause me to be more interested in the word and would help me to remember it. So now that I have my own doggone radio show, I can go against the English dictionary and I can give you my own word for the week. All right. So let's go. The word for the week is competition. And in my eyes, in my words, competition is when you are trying to outperform something or someone. All right. Very simple. Competition is when you are trying to outperform something or someone. All right. If you know me and everybody and most people who listen to the show full time, y'all heard this, but it's my story, it's my testimony. So I'm always going to share it. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis back in 2007 while playing football at San Diego State University. Blessed to be the first person to ever play Division I college football with MS. And so what I want y'all to know is, man, I'm 39 years old now, or I think I'm about to be 39. I have not bench pressed or used weights heavily in 5 years. I had what was called a pseudo relapse with this disease of multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune disease of which there is no cure. I had a pseudo relapse one day at my son's track meets, just right before COVID had kind of hit. And in that moment, I said to myself, I've got to be more careful. I was stricken with fear, right? Have y'all ever been through an event where, it's traumatic in its effects on you psychologically? You've broken something, you sprained something, you've hurt something, you've been in a business venture and it did not fare well, right? You have friendships that have come and gone because they did not fare well, and you're left with a sense of PTSD, if you will, over that event. And you say to yourself, man, I only got one life to live. I can only get this thing one time. And because of that, I'm going to be more careful, more wise about certain things. And so for me, my fear overtook me in such a way that I said, I'm going to stay away from the lifting of heavy weights because I don't want to relapse with my disease. Right. So I was talking to a friend by the name of Chris Dunbar, and I talked to Chris. He's the first ever professional bodybuilder with multiple sclerosis. And Chris for many years had been on me like, bro, you got to get back in the gym. You got to go back to lifting weights. You got to have a sense of identity and purpose. You lift weights while you can, because this disease takes so much away from you. It's not something you have to live in fear with multiple sclerosis as much as it is. It's just a constant battle to get parts of yourself back because the mind is telling you that you can't. So for 5 years, I didn't do a bench press because I was always fearful that I would get under there, have a relapse from pushing weights, right? So incredibly hard. So I decided during physical therapy last week, I take my father to physical therapy every Monday and Tuesday and Thursday. I said to myself, it's a bench press over there, yo. I'm going to get under there, see what happens, just play around with the weights. And so I get underneath the bench press and boom, I hit 135. I was like, okay, TC. All right, we got it. Now I hit that 185. Boom, boom, boom. A couple pause reps. If you don't know pause reps, when you let that bench press lay on your chest for about 8 to 10 seconds and then push it up, right? So you're really working your chest. How strong are you? And then I hit that 225. All right. And I hit it like 12 times. I was like, okay. Mind you, Bo, for 5 years, I've only been doing push-ups and dips. All right. But what I found was there was a euphoric feeling after moving the weight of a yes, I can type of moment for myself. All right. And so the message that comes from it is I needed that added level of competition with myself psychologically that sometimes only working out in that magnitude of being in the gym can fulfill. Right. And for some of us, I'm encouraging you today to not allow fear, right? Not allow maybe a previous historic event in your life that had catastrophic effects have bearings on what your potential of your today could be. So where you have been previously, it was a struggle. It was a strife. It left its battering and bruising over your life, some traumatic effects over your life. But where that was in the past, you don't know what today has to offer you. Let me tell somebody, today you have promise, right? Today you have another opportunity to squeeze your children hard. Today you have another opportunity, right, to drive and see relatives. Today you have another opportunity to love on your spouse. No matter what the arguments have been like in the past, all you have is your today. And so the responsibility that I felt that I needed to uphold was, as long as I have today, I can't be bound by the chains of what took place in my life yesterday or in previous months or years prior. Right. And so now I'm underneath the gym and I'm like, yo, I can't wait to hit this bench press again. I can't wait to get into the gym. I can't wait to compete with myself. And I think as a former athlete, where I see so many of us suffer, where I see our bodies go in different ways, where I see anger, struggle, and strife awaken itself in our lives, is because, number one, as a former athlete, you got to recognize you're crazy. All right, you got to be real with yourself. I had to recognize that by playing football, growing up, yo, I'm crazy. I played a sport where your job is to line up in front of somebody Monday through Friday, and all you do is hit that person. You run into a wall as fast as you can. I had to recognize that playing football meant that I was crazy. But it also meant that there's a part of me that is an adrenaline junkie. I had to recognize that there's a part of me that needs to compete. I need to line up. I need to move weights. I need to do something, because if I am not putting myself in a competitive environment on a regular basis, I'm not being me. I'm losing a big part of me. And for over 5 years, I've lost a big part of me. And so as you listen over the radio waves, what type of competitive aspect can you get involved with today? Is it a game, right? Is it the exercise? What type of competition on your work are you competing within your job rankings? Is it challenging? Does it cause you to be on the edge of, does it cause you to bring your A game? Right? Or are you just kind of silently just getting by, right? With mediocre performances. So I need that level of competition, because it holds me accountable and it recognizes for me internally that I can. So what type of environment can you put yourself in that mode where it challenges you, right? Where it causes you to push, not strain, right? But it causes you to push. And that level of competition is so incredibly necessary in our lives for us to thrive, right? To get our endorphins swinging, right? To get us on tiptoes and to have us have a level of accountability as to maybe what we do with our lives up leading up to that point, or even in previous days prior. Like, we need competition. I noticed I need competition, bro. I gotta have it. It's not so much that I miss the game of football. That ain't really it. What I miss most and more than anything is competing with myself or competing against someone else and seeing who gonna come out on top. I'm an adrenaline junkie for competition. And I believe in myself just like many of us believe. And so it's okay to go toe for blow for blow. And so I really appreciate you, Chris Dunbar. Again, y'all go look Chris up. He's the first ever professional bodybuilder with multiple sclerosis, still competing to this day. And my competition is that bar, right? Because that weight ain't fake. So it ain't gonna move unless you make it move. And you're going to have to struggle. You have to push. You're going to have to compete. You're going to have to get your adrenaline up. You're going to have to show up. And you're going to have to continue to build on that strength, or else that weight will not move. So right here and right now, y'all, those weights, that's my competition, man. That's where I'm holding true and holding strong with what I'm going through. And I noticed, it made me feel better, right? I proved something to myself. Honestly, I didn't think I was that strong. I didn't think I had 225 in me. And mind you, I'm still, and then I left out of the competitive aspect of me. This is how it went. Like, I went out of there and I did 225 by 12, and I should have been more excited, but all I could think of in my life was, yo, bro, when you was 21 years old in your pro day, you hit 225 24 times. You ain't even close. You got 12 more reps you're supposed to get. So I was like, ah! But the step in the right direction, right? And competition brings out the best. Some of the most elite sports programs, some of the most elite people who are at the top of their field, they thrive off of competition. They hunger off of competition. I'll never forget hearing from Vince Young and all these other players who were on the national championship team down here in Texas in about 2005, and they would say that the practices were harder than the games, because they would say the practices are harder than the games because they challenge themselves so heavily in practice, man. And that's kind of where we got to get to. That's kind of what we need to attain, is we got to have that level of competition, because it will cause us to thrive in a way that has not yet been set. And I hear people on social media, they say the signal isn't as strong, man. I'll get off this live feed and try to set up another one. But let that sink in for you wherever you are and whatever it is that you're trying to do. What situation can I put myself in that will challenge me to compete? And I think what you'll recognize is you will thrive from competition. You will build from competition, and it will cause you to grow in many other different areas and facets of your life. All right. So on the other side of this break, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to go ahead and get some things active and try to get everything together on social media. We are going live on YouTube, not having any issues right there. But on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about rest and recovery. Rest and recovery, why those things are important, and what are you doing today to cause the next generation to have a step up instead of a step back. Tyler Campbell, aka Mr. TC Speaks, 102.7 ESPN. I will catch you guys on the other side of this break and fix what's going on with social media. Let's go so we can grow.
Storm Guardian Generators is stepping up.
All right, 2 minutes, man. I'll get that. Let's go. I don't know, man. Do I not have enough? I'm trying to see, Pat. I'm trying to see what's up with the signal. Do I not have the Wi-Fi going? I'm gonna see what's going on. Here, hold on. See if the Wi-Fi is not connected. Okay. Is Austin Radio Guest 55? Is that a good one?
Whichever one is because that one doesn't require a password.
Yeah.
If there's a stronger one,
Is that pretty good?
Okay, yeah.
Did I get it going?
See if that works. If it doesn't, the other ones, the password is just Waterloo.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if this one works, Pat. See if this one works. We'll see if this one's got any good go in it. And I don't know. I didn't know. People were just complaining. And it did. It kind of kept freezing on me. But it's okay. No big deal. Giving the next generation a step up. We're giving them a step back. Let's see. How much time we got, Pat?
40.
We got 40. Yeah, I don't know, man. My phone is really slow. All right, we're going to try this again. All right, Pat say 40 seconds. That'll put us at, what, 45 for 15?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
All right. All right, y'all, seeing if we got the connection back going again the right way this time. So we'll see. We got a few seconds. We'll pop off live. Y'all let me know if it works, if it's not working. We're going to see.
On 102.7 ESPN. Reach out to Tyler at 512-834-1027.
Hey, I love it. Yo, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And again, in the previous segment, we talked about competition. If you're on IG, I tried to fix the signaling. Y'all let me know as this thing goes. Hey, if it's bad, also we're on YouTube. Look me up, TC Speaks, at TC Speaks 32. I normally go at Real Life, Real Talk. I did not do that today. I will be better about that next time. Y'all know tech ain't really my strong suit. Okay. Again, July, National Black Family Month. I talked to in the first segment about the importance of being a part of my family reunion, right? Seeing folks that you have not seen. And then you notice how life just be lifing because people who you normally see, they're not there anymore. And so what it did was it caused me to look at my son. For my son asked me a lot of questions about historically his culture, right? He's real cerebral like that. And I was like, listen, son, stop asking me those questions. Take time to start asking your elders while they're here to answer those questions. And so Real Life, Real Talk Nation, I want to ask y'all today, yo, how often while your grandparents are here, while your great-grands, while your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, how often, right? Your neighbors who are older than you, that upper generation, how often have you sat back and just asked them to tell you their story? Like current events, right? Like sports, like man, I can't think of all the times that I've sat back and asked my dad about different sporting events, like the Muhammad Ali's, the Jim Browns, all those things, the Walter Paytons, like people who come before, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's, like what was it like watching that? You know what I'm saying? Or then deeper, right? Asking people about civil rights questions in particular. So what I told my son is like, yo, you get over there to them other tables, you start asking your elders them questions. Don't ask me. I'm an 80s baby. You asked me about events that took place in 50s and 60s. I wasn't around then, but them folks over there, they can tell you the story, right? So in doing so, you know, he learned a lot more. And so I took that and I challenged myself also to ask greater questions of the older generations while they're here. And I'm asking y'all on Real Life, Real Talk Nation, yo, while those people are here, sit with them, ask them, talk to them, yo, see the history through their eyes, because they can tell you the story way better than what Google could provide, what AI could provide, and possibly give you some more guidance to some things that you didn't even know. All right. So get to know that next generation, and pick up the phone. If you can't see them in person, pick up the phone. Our word for the week is competition. I talked about how it's necessary, right? How you got to have some form of competition in your life as a form of accountability that uplifts your responsibility to not take your days for granted. All right. So what type of competitive environments, where do you compete? Do you compete on your job? Do you compete where it's been in exercising? Is it whatever level or volume? And if you're looking back at your life and you're saying, well, I don't really have any competition on the regular, you need it, right? Because it's something that helps the endorphins. It's something that helps the overall mind, body, and soul and spirit intertwine. You've got to have something to compete. And when you're competing, I defined it as this: when you're trying to outperform something or someone, right? When you're in a competitive environment, you're constantly trying to get ahead. You're constantly trying to win, to compete. That is necessary. You got to have something in life to thrive after, to go after. All right. And then I pondered this question. I'm gonna let that marinate on your cerebrum. Y'all know we always have that method of having a quote, having a word that causes us to think more in depth. All right. So this week's let that marinate on your cerebrum is this: with the way that you're living your life, all right, in the highways and byways of life, are you setting up the next generation through your daily decision making, or because of your lack of seriousness, are you making them take a step back? When I look at my life and I look at all the things that I'm blessed to do today, like speaking with you all over 102.7 ESPN, I'm only here because older generations, they prayed over me. They prayed for me. They thought about me. They sacrificed for me, right? Not just within my family, but just people in general. There's a lot of sacrifice that went up with the freedoms we have within this country. But in that Campbell era, within that Smith era, within that Collins era, those people of my ancestral heritage that I come from, they prayed for an opportunity like this for me many generations ago. And they gave me a blueprint. They gave me an opportunity to be where I am today. And so when I think about those things, when I was thinking about those things while we were going through the family reunion aspect of life, I said to myself, I have to hold myself accountable because my daily decisions have to be done in such a way that by Tyler making the decisions I'm making, I need to be setting up not only my children, but the next generations after that. Right? Because, and so often I was reading the good book, bro, and not too long ago, and it was talking about how certain kings throughout their decision making or their lack of responsibility with their decision making, how it hindered the next generations, that they couldn't reap the same blessings, right? That kingdoms were taken away from them because the king or the queen didn't handle their responsibilities. And so I look in my mirror, I was reading and I looked in the mirror this morning from a different perspective. And it's like, the challenges, like I have to get it right. And so Real Life, Real Talk Nation, it's not pressure, it's competition, but you are meant to be here for something greater than just yourself. And I'm telling you this right now, through your daily decision making, through the way that you handle yourself, it's not just about you. All right, what you can accomplish, right? The way that you can treat people, you can level this thing up so that the generations coming up after you don't have to experience the same hardship, don't have to experience the same roadblocks, don't have to experience the same walls that they are going to have to constantly hurdle. But then when I hear people sit back and say to themselves that they aren't important, come on, somebody, that you don't matter, or that you're just here to exist, I said that could not be further from the truth. You got to get up off your butt and do something, because your lack of instinct, your lack of awareness to recognize that what you are here to do is meant for purpose far greater than you, that the next generations that you don't even know are needing your success story, or needing for you to block an open door so that they can succeed. If that ain't inspiration enough to you, beloved, I don't know what else can be done. So when people are struggling, trying to figure out why, look no further than understanding that there are people in your family that will be birthed. There's a whole nother generation that's coming up later on that you may not ever see. That by your actions, your fortuitousness, right, your ability to go after life to the best of your ability, that's going to set somebody up with a greater level of opportunity than they could have ever fathomed. But they need you. And that's why I said, man, it's by the grace of the people who came before me that I am able to sit here over the radio waves and have conversations about inspirational messages. It's by them. The ability to play football with MS, it's not because Tyler Campbell was an amazing person. Somebody prayed over what I was coming over into this world. Somebody thought about those things, man, and they opened up doors. People sacrificed freedoms, sacrificed family, right? Sacrificed so many other things so that I could walk through a door that was once closed. I think about my family, man, and the opportunity to be over the waves, and it causes you, when you recognize that people sacrifice so much for you, it changes the way you talk. It changes the way that you love, because then you recognize, yo, you didn't do absolutely anything. It was the people who came before you that you've never met, that you won't meet, right? That tried to do the same thing that you're doing, but because of the time frame, it didn't work out. But that work ethic, right? That diligence, right? That ability to stand up, yo, it was passed down in your DNA. I told my kids, man, you know, I have our children, Cheyenne, Sage, Adonis, and Messiah. Lord, we got 4 of them. You know, I posted a post this week because I had to remind my son, you know, because sometimes, you know, kids think that they just arrived, right? And I told my son, I was like, listen, bro, do you know how cold your mama was at track and field? She was dang near freshman All-American. Had one of the top jumps as a freshman in the United States of America. And I just sit back, I had to tell my sons, like, man, all this stuff that you're doing on the track, you work hard, you do, right? You're a gifted kid, you are. But don't get it twisted to thinking that your mama didn't pass down some generational traits to you because of how cold she was at track and field. My son was like, she was that good? I said, man, you ought to sit down. And we talked about ancestral heritage. We talked about generations and spending time with your elders. I said, son, you need to sit down and spend some time with your mama. You need to ask your mother about what she was able to accomplish in her time frame as a track and field athlete, right? You don't know if you don't know. You don't know if you don't ask. And so what I'm telling you, or what I'm telling you over the radio waves, understand, it's not something I'm not just, that it's something that I'm trying to thrive and do within my own household. Right? So piggybacking off of that, all right, what are you doing with your decision making for today? Do you have the fortuitousness in your mind to know that, hey, what I'm doing today can pay dividends for the next generation, right? My ability to open up a business, right? Oh, my ability to get married and stay together. How about that? Bringing my kids up in a 2-parent household, right? These things that I'm trying to do will pay dividends for the next generation, right? And I'm not, hey, and trust me, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with coming from a single home. I'm saying, like, I know it meant a lot for my wife, who's raised a lot by a single mother. Like, it meant a lot for her to, like, to be married and to stay together. You know what I'm saying? That meant something. And so how can we set it up? How can we be different from the next generation, right? You take all of those types of things into an account, and you're trying to push those things further up into the atmosphere to help the next generation have a step up, right? Instead of having a step back. You know what I'm saying? And walking through doors that were once closed before you could be different for somebody else. Okay. As we come back on the other side of this break, we will also talk about the importance of rest and recovery, right? Because I'm sitting back, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love to listen to the best athletes, or the greatest of CEOs, or people who are the best at what they do. And at the heart of it, I love the regiment, right? I love to know what people are doing consistently to stay at the tops of their game. And it's not so much about the athletic capability. It's not so much about the mental strength or the smarts or the intelligence and the genius. At the root of it, I also find out that people have a regiment that allows them to take care of themselves, and rest and recovery are just as important as anything for them to do what it is that they do. Rest and recovery. The two things that when they are mentioned, people feel like you're standing stagnant or you're not doing anything to move forward. When in all actuality, you can't move forward without the correct rest and the amount of time to recover. Tyler Campbell, aka Mr. TC Speaks. This is Real Life, Real Talk, 102.7 ESPN, body rocking and shocking with my brother Big Pat. Catch you guys on the other side of this break. We will be back for our last segment. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You can always download these messages off of SoundCloud. I think I have like 4 or 5 years worth of content, worth of radio messaging that you can always pull from. Your brother from another mother, Tyler Campbell, aka Mr. TC Speaks. I'll catch y'all on the other side of this break.
Hi, I'm Jenny Covert at Covert Chevrolet.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it. So, yeah, just a lot. And I think for me, in my perspective, honestly, the messaging that I come across with obviously getting people to spend time with the next generation, I miss my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I come from a hard place of actually hurting because I remember sitting down with her after making like real pancakes, not no Aunt Jemima stuff, that stuff that she made from scratch that most people don't know how to do these days because we all box and open and pour and move. And she would make pancakes from scratch. She would make biscuits from scratch, right? And she would talk. And I would sit at the table and I would listen. And I was given so much game. I learned so much about her struggle, her strife, you know, her family not really coming from much, what it was like raising 11 kids on your own, you know, and I kept those stories near and dear to my heart. And so when I talk about, taking time for your elders, I mean it, because when they are gone, they are gone. And those stories go to the graveyard with them. And they don't live on if you didn't take time to listen. So that's what I want more than anything for everybody to take away from it is, spend time while you have time. And then think about how you will have the due diligence to take what it is that you've learned about your culture, what it is that you know about your people, and ensure that these next generations know what you know. Because then that gives you identity and helps provide clarity over where you need to go in life.
You are listening to Real Life,
Last segment.
Real Talk with Tyler Campbell on 102.7 ESPN. Reach out to Tyler at 512-834-1027.
Tyler Campbell, a.k.a. Mr. TC Speaks, Mr. Real Life, Real Talk himself, Tyler Campbell. Yes, man, we're live on YouTube. Man, absolutely. I just had somebody type in off of my phone, Big E. I appreciate you down in Luling, Texas. Yeah, I forgot Hulk Hogan had passed, man. And I think as a kid, you know what I'm saying? I think he was probably one of my favorite wrestlers coming in because I think that leg drop. I would say him and Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior is probably my dude. But yeah, I remember Hulk Hogan had the world on lock, man. He was that dude tearing the shirt. And let me say this. Let me preface that by saying this. Okay. And I said this on social media right here and right now. That ties in even more. And I didn't even know it, E, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. That's why I'm so passionate about in the first 2 segments when I was telling people to get around your doggone elders and start asking questions and start soaking up this game of what life was like through their eyes. Because when people are gone, they are gone. Just like what E mentioned with Hulk Hogan now being gone. And over the last couple of weeks, man, Malcolm Jamal Warner, like Theo from the Huxtables. Come on, man. Like one of your favorite sitcoms. Like, people, you aren't going to live forever. And you must, I repeat, you must make the most of your day. Who will you call today to tell them, look, I don't want nothing from you? I'm not calling trying to take nothing. I ain't calling asking for something. I'm just calling you today to tell you I love you. Right? How much harder do you need to squeeze your children today? If you haven't learned anything, at least over the last week within this country, about head figures, like really no figures, like people grew up around these figures that have now passed. Oh, Ozzy Osbourne, golly, forgot Ozzy Osbourne. Man, when you're gone, you're gone. And the messages and the stories they go with those people to the graves if you don't take time to spend time and to learn so that you can pass the messaging, the stories on. Big E, you are on it, bro. I'm pulling immediately from one of my radio listeners because he's texting me right here and right now. So yeah, like get with your elders. And that's one of the things that I was telling my son about that. And so with that, you know, are you living your life in such a way that you are setting up the next generation, or are you setting them back? Or are you causing them to take a step back? And one of those things that cause them to take a step back is when a person doesn't recognize or try to live life to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill your calling, to live out your gift. By the way, I said it before and I said it all the time. People say gift and purpose. Those are another thing that I recognize in a lot of these podcasts. And that's why I always defined it. And I think I need to get back to it to give people clarity, because things sometimes get run over and they get put on auto repeat because it's one of the things that you're supposed to say. So I listen to a lot of stuff and everybody always says purpose, but nobody ever doggone defines it. And we think we know what it is. We think that we understand. Okay, I got to find my purpose. How can you find it when you don't fully know what it is that you're looking for? Class is about to go in session. How can you know or find your purpose when you don't understand what the heck it exactly is? So let's go to the TCSV, Tyler Campbell Standard Version of the Dictionary one more again. Instead of just defining what competition is, I'm going to give you your purpose and your gift. They're two different things. All right, your gift is that thing that you can do with relentless passion, energy, drive, and consistency, even when nobody pays you a dime to do it. That is your gift. I will say it again. Your gift is that thing that you can do with consistent energy, with drive, energy, and consistency, even when nobody pays you a dime to do it. When you found that, you found your gift. All right, now let me take you to the next level. When you've got your gift and you understand what a gift is, it makes it easier to see the world from a clerical standpoint, and you can go off deeper to figure out your purpose. You got your gift, and many of us have multiple gifts. There are certain things that we can just doggone do. But when you find your purpose is your calling. You're calling from the man up above. And when you can't do this purpose, your soul, it hurts, it mourns, it suffers. When you can't operate in your purpose, it kills you. My gift, one of the things that I do very well, whether somebody puts money in my pocket or not, is to speak. I can get over it, put that mouthpiece in, and that mouth and that tongue, they roll. And for some people, they have a fear of that. For me, it's a comfort. I can speak. All right? That's what I can do. It's a gift. But my purpose is to serve. If you know anything about me and my heart, I live for nothing more than to help somebody else, than to be there for somebody else. That is my purpose. What happens is I've got my gift to speak, and I show up consistently. I show up routinely. I do the videos. I do the social media. I get on the radio waves. I cut the clips. We do all of this positivity and inspiration because I know it serves a greater purpose for somebody else who's struggling right now. My gift is to speak. My purpose is to serve. When you can figure out the gifting and the purpose, first identify what they are by defining them, then you can go after them. So when you listen, when you read, and when you discuss amongst your peers, your friends, the people you love, and you're talking about purpose, now you understand your purpose is your calling. Doggone it, when you can't do this, your soul gets raptured, your spirit gets taken from you. When I can't serve, when I can't help somebody, I am not humanely the person I need to be. I can go without speaking. I can put this gift down and be okay. But when I can't help nobody, it kills me. You know, so get your gift and get your purpose. Now, we talked about this really quickly. I'm going to go to the next level. I'm going to give you also the importance of rest and recovery. All right. So everything in this country is always what's next, right? Where I got to go, right? Where I got to be. And everything is rush. I think I broke my wife's heart, I think 2 days ago, or a day ago, my father-in-law was coming into town. He's here now, and I was rushing. And when I get into a rush, I can't take my eyes away from the thing I'm trying to ultimately accomplish. So we have 4 kids, right? And so time is something look, we ain't on time for nothing. Campbell's, bro, we late. We always, me and my wife, yo, we that group. We those people, I'm sorry, we late. But we try our best. But sometimes rallying and getting the kids together, bro, it is absolute hell. Okay. So my wife had called me and told me that, like, look, I can't get off of work today. You got to go pick up my dad. And bruh, it totally rocked my world because I didn't have enough time. Okay. And so the next time she called, I was in a frenzy. I was behind. I'm trying to clean the car. I got kids in the street. I got a kid upstairs playing video games. I got kids in the street. Got a toddler rolling around in the grass, getting bit by ants. Just ultimate chaos. So when my wife called and I answered the phone, I was like, hello? You know what I'm saying? With an attitude. And she knew I had an attitude. And my mind was moving so fast. I was so focused on the next thing or what I was lacking in the moment because I didn't take time to rest within the conversation and focus my attention on solely her and what she might have needed or what the phone call was about, that I ended up hurting her by my tone or the way that I was carrying the conversation. And so for as much moving and as much I got to do this, as much fast-paced stuff that we always have to feel like we got to go and do and get and move and that and this and be here and be there, I'm asking you, how much rest do you receive? Because I know if you like me, bro, your spirit, it ain't resting if you're constantly trying to get to the next thing. If you're constantly trying to work from a place of lack of things that you don't have, your mind is not resting because it's always moving, yet and still you ain't going nowhere. You can't even be in the moment. And psychologically, mentally, and physically, you ain't giving your body the afforded rest anyway to be able to handle tomorrow's challenges because you're so focused on where you're not, what you have to do, and what has to be done. And it's just like that of an athlete. You know, my son's going to Junior Olympics. God bless him. What an amazing opportunity. He going next week. I think the hardest thing for my child to learn is his rest and his recovery. Mind you, these are things that as an athlete, you are really ushered into all your entire life. I think I had to learn this the hard way when I got to college. And I don't think I ever fully learned it. And I really feel like that's why I had my relapse with multiple sclerosis, because whatever I was doing, whatever I was putting into my system, I did this. I brought MS upon me because I was so focused on working and weightlifting and running. I did eating. I never, not necessarily focus on what to eat. I'm just eating. I'm putting bad things in my body, and it's hindering me. I don't understand rest and recovery like I'm supposed to. So as much work, and as much next, my challenge to you all over the radio waves is how much rest and how much recovery do you put into your body? Because if you keep pushing this thing and keep pushing this thing and you keep pushing this thing, something is going to give. Right? And I don't want that for you. Don't push so hard. Don't focus so much on what's next that you miss the now and cause yourself to get into an unforgivable disagreement and breaking the heart of your wife like I did earlier this week. You know what I'm saying? Again, I spend most of the time on the radio waves talking about myself. I'm just vulnerable enough to open up my heart to everybody else who's listening. So I speak the truth from where I can be honest and recognize where I mess up, right? And that's the real. And then when you go about it, you circle back and just figure out what can be done better. What can you do differently? What needs to change? And so over the course of the week, I want you to be mindful of this. Your word of the week is competition. How will you set yourself in a standard to put yourself in a competitive environment, right? That causes you not to get complacent. Not get complacent with your health, not get complacent with your love, not get complacent with your physical exercise, not get complacent. If you have or can formulate competition, it will take you to the next way. I see you, Booze. You learn to rest or your body will force you to. I've learned the hard way. So that's one of them coming from one of our loyal listeners. All right, competition, the word of the week. What are you doing to set up the next generation, or are your decisions causing them to take a step back? Download these messages off of SoundCloud. This is Real Life, Real Talk. We'll be with you guys next week. I hope that you got inspired. I hope that you will take Lyfe to the next level. Figure out your gift and your purpose. Do it today because we need you. Love y'all and respect y'all. Let's go so that we can grow. Peace. Hey, thank y'all for hanging with me. I apologize for the technical issues. We will get the Wi-Fi figured out. I will get the Wi-Fi figured out next time. I know everybody was tuning in the first. They logged off because they said the connection just wasn't good. I will upload this message to SoundCloud. You can always go check out the YouTube. I think the connection was solid over there. Hey, I love you as well, my boy. I appreciate you. All right. Let that food help and bless other people. All right. Love you and respect you. Y'all go out and have a great rest of your week. I'm going to get out, see my father-in-law, my wife, and my kids. Pray for my son going to the Junior Olympics this week. Hope he will stay upright. Hope he will stay healthy. And we can have a good time. And until we meet again, yo, let's go so we can grow.